Hello, Don in London. It's December the 11th. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. I'm an alcoholic in recovery, one day at a time. And the reason why I say it's one day at a time is the only one I can live in. So, in the past, alcoholic. I don't know when I drew, well, some people say we cross a line when it comes to addiction, from not being an addict to being an addict. And once an addict, always an addict. And some say we are recovering on a daily basis, so we start off the day in recovery, and by the end of it we're recovered. And some people believe we are recovered. Well, what other people believe is none of my business in that respect. All I know is today I can be sober, and with a little help from my friends, family, community, professionals, you name it, I will take support wherever I can get it, or ask for help where I can get it. And that can be anywhere. But there is a consistent part of my life which has developed over the last few years around fellowship, and that fellowship is the one that saves my life or helps me be in recovery one day at a time, and that's Alcoholics Anonymous. And AA is full of unique, authentic people who share their experience, strength and hope where they will, and where it is appropriate for them to do so. And I share my experience, strength and hope here, so that you can hear one of many voices around how to be sober. And what I've learned over the years is it is the many voices of sobriety, be they 1 hour from a drink or 35, 40, 50 years from a drink. We get experience, strength and hope and wisdom of what it's been like and what it is like now. So this is why I do them. It's to share hope with anyone and everyone who may have a problem or is in recovery as they define it. I can only define it for me. That's the beauty of the programme. We all remain unique, authentic people, and we will have our outlook, and we will have freedom of choice based on reality. It's not freedom of choice based on fantasy or what we might wish for. We have choices today based on reality, our life experience, and sometimes that is limited, but it can be even more limited with a drink inside me. So how does AA help me? I share the AA preamble, which is said at every meeting I go to at the beginning, and I was very fortunate to get two yesterday. I needed them because of certain riotous situations here in London, UK. So this is what AA is and does for me. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And whilst it says quite clearly fellowship is, we leave everything at the door in terms of our politics, religion, faith, but we do express about it in meetings, but we always say, it's all about sobriety and it's not about anything else. And it's not about somebody putting their view on you. It's about developing our own personal outlook and preference for living. And yes, 1 or 2 people picked up on my concern and fears around riots in London, where the police and students as young as 8, most around 14 to 16 and some older people, thousands demonstrating about their education fees going up and up and up. And they went down to Parliament Square. Their way was blocked by the police, who work on the instruction of the government, and it turned into a riot. And it's very difficult when we see this. I remember I paid a lot of the way to my education over the years, and it wasn't a free ride. But my attitude is education need be free, and it needs to be free for 50 years so we get the balance back in the system and our culture, and improve and enrich our society. But that's just me. And when a Prime Minister condemns people for getting angry and agitated when people charge at them on horses, we forget that the Prime Minister is responsible for the actions of the police. He's the one who sets the agenda on that, and he's the one who sets the agenda on making students have to pay 300% more for their degrees. And then he wonders why people get angry. We have a cabinet of multimillionaires, and we have people on the streets with nothing. It's no wonder they feel disenfranchised. Anyway, that's me and my politics coming into my video. And sometimes they will, but you can discount and ignore anything I say, because that's just, my personal view on my outlook. But, fellowship is about something more. It's about emotional and spiritual well-being on a daily basis. And if we're dealing with our emotional and spiritual well-being on a daily basis, it doesn't mean we cut ourselves off from what is happening. We have to deal with what we are experiencing on a daily basis. So, this is not a theory, it's a practice. It's putting things into practice, principles of 12 steps which help me make life work for me and those around me in a more conducive pattern, if you like. It just makes life work. And I don't have to resort to a drink to take the edge off, or to get angry, or to be happy or sad. I can be happy or sad in reality. And, that is the best experience I can possibly have, reality as it is today. And it is called spiritual. That is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. So if you're trying to be a spiritual giant these days, the simple way to do it is to be right here in reality right now. So my emotional well-being is contingent on my spiritual condition, which is to be able to interact in reality. How else would it be? That's how we were made. But a lot of the time we can be stuck in our history and wonder what's going on, and stuck in a fantasy of what we would like. So I'm not expecting the political regime to change anytime soon, and I'm not expecting to change the attitudes or behaviour of other people. All I can do is make sure my attitudes and my behaviour are consistent with my values of open, honest and willing. And that's how it works for me. And here I share Daily Reflections, this book. 1 page a day, a reflection to keep me on message. And these 12 steps of action for anybody in recovery. They're not a burden, they make life happier, more livable, more realistic. So, December the 11th, a genuine humility. My goodness, a genuine humility. Humility is something maybe you didn't hear in what I just said. Yes, politics takes humility out of it, I suspect. We are actually to practice a genuine humility. This is to the end that our great blessings may never spoil it, that we shall forever live in thankful contemplation of Him who presides over us all. And that is an understanding of the higher power, God, or simply good conscience as you come to understand. And it's a personal understanding, it's not an AA understanding. There is no AA understanding as such, because we're unique and authentic. Experience has taught me that my alcoholic personality tends to be grandiose. In other words, I know better than everybody else, but obviously and truly I don't. While having seemingly good intentions, I can go off on tangents in pursuit of my causes. My ego takes over and I lose sight of my primary purpose. I may even take credit for God's handiwork in my life. Such an overstated feeling of my own importance is dangerous to my sobriety and could cause great harm to AA as a whole. My safeguard, the 12th tradition, serves to keep me humble. I realise both as an individual and as a member of the fellowship that I cannot boast of my accomplishments, and that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. And for me, God works through people. God is truth, God is love. And, I can't speak today without reference to the fact that if it hadn't been for an almighty number of people in recovery, I wouldn't have stood a chance to be here today. So I am always grateful, and I cannot say with any certainty that I would be here had it not been for the fellowship. I know everybody else tried to help me, and I know I tried to help myself, but I couldn't do it on my own. And the humility that I've learned in that is it translates into real life. I can't live life on my own. I can't live as if I know it all. I may want a principle of free education, but it doesn't mean that everybody else wants that. And it's a collective understanding of what is good for us all that we do when we vote in the ballot box. But when it comes to fellowship, it's about sobriety. And if we can all keep sober, we can all have a point of view. It doesn't mean we're going to get our own way. Far from it. What it means is we have the ability to express ourselves truly as we see life today. And what keeps me in check, as if I needed it? Of course I do. I do need it. I need humility, which is the ability to keep on learning, keep on being educated by life and the people around me. Is the serenity prayer to God or good conscience, the God or good conscience that we understand, develop an understanding of. It's a personal understanding, unique and authentic to each human, but it's so similar, it's hard to say if there is much of a difference. It's to good conscience mainly. So the serenity prayer, universal in any situation, happy or sad. God, or to good conscience, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to calm. The serenity prayer to God or good conscience. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is always, for me, just for today.